Good evening. Doing some meditations on the 12 dependent related links. This is the third of a series of 4 enumerated in Joyful Path of Good Fortune. This is the third of 4. It's the serial order meditation on the dependent relationship of the perfectly purified side. So the pre-contemplation, such as this, is such. Finally, Asanga decided he needed to attain a direct vision of Maitreya, who had received these teachings, Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, directly from Buddha Shakyamuni. To accomplish this aim, Asanga engaged in a retreat on a remote mountain cave. For 3 years, he practiced the yoga of Buddha Maitreya, but his karmic obstructions prevented him from seeing Maitreya, and he became discouraged and stopped his retreat. As he was returning home, he met a man working very hard, cutting a block of iron with a peacock feather. The man said he would do nothing with it, just leave it there. He said to himself, "This man is putting great effort into accomplishing such an insignificant goal." Asanga wished dearly to meet Buddha Maitreya directly. He thought to himself again, "Surely, if I continue patiently with my retreat, I can complete my goal and bring real benefit to the people of this world." So that's just a short part of the story of Asanga's retreat until he finally attained high realizations and was able to enter a Pure Land and meet Buddha Maitreya himself. You can read about it in Living Meaningfully, Dying Joyfully. There's another book it's in as well. Not sure if it's Heart of Wisdom. Anyway. So, I'll pause it now, and then you do your preparatory practices, such as Heart Jewel. Then we'll dive straight into the contemplation, the main contemplation. How is one round of 12 dependent related links completed in 2 lifetimes? Our cessation of desire realm ignorance is a realization of the emptiness of persons and phenomena. This mind, completely pure in wisdom, cannot produce throwing actions. For example, the man cutting the iron block with a peacock feather was in fact emanated by Maitreya for Asanga's benefit. Through this and many other emanations, but Maitreya continually helped Asanga. Thus encouraged, he returned to his cave. Much later, he realized emptiness directly. So there's the 12 dependent related links with the pictures in each of the 12 segments on the outer rim of the Wheel of Life. But there's also some kind of purifying, because this is meditating on the dependent relationship with the perfectly purified side, you can substitute some of these images for like images of pure experience, pure Dharma realization. So, for example, this one, our cessation of desire realm ignorance, of 9 noted the image of a youthful, vibrant bikini lady. You know, something like this. Wisdom bikini lady. There's also the 12 implements that are held in the 12 arms of Haruka. Buddha of Compassion, Haruka, is 12 special tantric symbols in his 12 arms, his 12 hands. Those are also related to the 12 dependent related links as well. You can read about that in Essence of Vajrayana. Our cessation of compositional actions is the complete purity of our actions, uncontaminated by ignorance, and so they cannot result in any further samsaric rebirth. In the story of Asanga, a smooth channel in the hard rock from the waterfall. He thought, these tiny drops of water have worn away hard rock through their persistence. Surely, if I am equally persistent in my meditation, I can wear away the hard rock of my inner obstructions and accomplish my goal. Thus encouraged, he returned to his cave. Example, a potter making pots. All good, perfect pots. Our pure wisdom consciousness receives only uncontaminated actions. Remember, this is a perfectly purified side. In the story, a bird's nest in the cliff face with grooves from birds flying in and out. Inspired by this example of how even the gentlest actions, if repeated often enough, can produce dramatic results, he returned to his cave, determined to remove the obstructions from his mind. Our pure wisdom consciousness receives only uncontaminated actions. A monkey abiding peacefully in a tree. Cessation of name and form means the aggregates of a person at the moment of conception are uncontaminated. So we have uncontaminated feelings, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness is the basis for naming a person. We have no ignorance conditioned perceptions. Uncontaminated, so the pure 5 aggregates. In the story, Asanga was a great practitioner who sought teachings on the perfection of wisdom sutras, in which he would find all the instructions on the stages of the path to enlightenment. The image of a bodhisattva rowing a boat. Our cessation of 6 sources means our 5 sense powers, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, plus the mental power, do not produce the appearance of inherently existent phenomena, nor of persons. Therefore, it is impossible to develop a deluded consciousness. In the story, after 12 years of retreat, Asanga again, or maybe 9 years of retreat, Asanga again became discouraged and abandoned his retreat. So Maitreya emanated as a female dog that had collapsed on the roadside and was slowly being eaten alive by maggots. I think it is 12 years. Wait for the conclusion of this story. The image of a vacated mansion with 5 doorways. Our cessation of contact means that our mental factor that functions to name its object as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral does not assent to these appearances. Perhaps if we have completely pure consciousness, there wouldn't be any unpleasant appearances. Whenever our mind cognizes an object, it perceives it as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Asanga developed strong compassion when he saw the dying dog with maggot-infested sores. The image of chakra from samsara embracing Hiruka and Vajragini in embrace. Our cessation of dependent-related feeling means that our feelings arise in dependence upon uncontaminated knowledge or wisdom. Therefore, our feelings are uncontaminated too. There is no grasping at unpleasant or neutral things from their own side, and there are no unpleasant or neutral feelings. Hiruka holding an arrow. Our cessation of dependent-related craving means that the desire we have at the time of death can only be virtuous and peaceful. We have no problem with being separated from our body, our home, our friends and possessions. We have prepared well for our death, and we feel joy at the prospect of going to our preferred destination. Our feelings too are uncontaminated, and so even the sickness at death does not disturb our peace of mind. The story of Asanga painstakingly removed these maggots with his tongue, the dying dog. Through these compassionate, virtuous actions, the karmic obstructions that had prevented him from seeing Maitreya were completely purified. The image of a Bodhisattva drinking wisdom nectar. That's the cessation of dependent-related craving. Our cessation of dependent-related grasping means our mind cannot desire pleasant, deluded, mistaken appearances or conceptions, because in uncontaminated wisdom there are no such objects. Prior to death, we can remain undistracted by objects that for ordinary beings may arouse desire or aversion. With a feeling of both shock and joy, Asanga exclaimed, "Why did I need to wait so long to see you?" Maitreya replied, "I have been with you from the very beginning of your retreat, but your karmic mental obstructions prevented you from seeing me. Now, how can I help you?" Our cessation of dependent-related existence means our intention that was the power immediately to produce the next rebirth is virtuous and is based on pure renunciation and bodhicitta. In the story, instead of seeing the dog, Asanga suddenly saw Maitreya. Through generating universal compassion, Asanga had purified his mind and finally received the vision of Buddha Maitreya. The image of victory banners held aloft and 8 auspicious signs. Our cessation of dependent-related birth means that the first moment of any rebirth, when the consciousness has entered a new form, the moment of conception, is not samsaric rebirth, but the result of pure intentions to benefit others. In the story, Asanga had purified his mind so much that he could be received into the presence of Buddha Maitreya in Akanishta Pure Land. So that could literally be our rebirth into a Pure Land. With the cessation of dependent-related birth, it means there's no samsaric rebirth, it means there's a pure birth. If we're a Bodhisattva with pure compassion, we will be reborn in a Pure Land. So yeah, like the image of a baby Bodhisattva being born in a Pure Land. Our cessation of dependent-related aging means that from the second moment after birth, we do not grasp at the extremes of production, cessation, existence, and so forth. And so we do not suffer from attachment to our changing form up until the moment of death. In the story, Asanga, after spending some time studying the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras in Akanishta Pure Land, Asanga returned to the human realm and taught and had the teachings written down as the Maitreya scriptures. And this has got the image of a man carrying a stupa reliquary. Our cessation of dependent-related death means that the final cessation of the relationship between the mind and the body at the moment when the consciousness leaves the body is one of joy and freedom. In the story, Asanga lived to a ripe old age and was well loved and revered. His transmission of the Maitreya revelatory scriptures had restored pure Mahayana doctrine and the heart of the meaning of practice within monastic and lay Buddhist communities. This was in about the 10th century in India, I think, yeah. 9th or 10th century India, yeah. And it's the image of a pure yogi making mandala offerings. In summary again, the cessation of ignorance pacifies delusion and karma, results in a fortunate rebirth endowed with wisdom, from which conditions are ideal to progress through the spiritual path, resulting in great liberation. I will gladly enter this path and progress from joy to joy. Conclusion. I can see how to enter and complete the joyful path of good fortune. I must abandon contaminated aggregates. I can see how to enter and complete the joyful path of good fortune. Therefore, I must abandon contaminated aggregates. Thus, we develop a strong determination to eliminate ignorance by practicing the path of method conjoined with wisdom. This is a joyful mind of liberation, the mind of renunciation.